Sorry. Let's do a cold opening.
A cold, yeah. So, we have to face the camera for this one then. It has to be, hey guys, welcome back to another episode, right? And so, is that how we're doing it, hey?
Sounds cheesy.
Yeah? Yeah, maybe don't stop doing that. Like, should we just do...
This should be an intro. Us discussing how to do the intro.
Yeah, right? Hey guys!
Hey guys, Roger, Jay. Roger and Pace Podcast, episode number 3. What did we talk about today, Jay?
We started off with just a little catch up over the Christmas break. Mm-hmm. What we got up to.
Trump. We discussed Trump and the impeachment and what that actually means for idiots like us who don't really know what's going on. Yep. Diversity Council. What's going
Australia,
on there?
Yeah, and the wanting to get Christmas out of the...
vocabulary, really.
Yeah.
The word Christmas. Jay talks about some...
little random funny story that happened over the week.
Painful story about...
Not a personal story.
Man, I don't even want to discuss it.
You have to listen to it.
To that.
Oh my gosh.
Morning routines we go through.
Our own personal morning routines and why we think they're important and how they help us.
A couple of good apps that we have on our phones.
Yep.
And then the meat and potatoes of this podcast, I said that again, was CVAs, which is, let's just leave it and you'll see what that means. But basically... There's a lot of stuff going on with anxious men and...
and the dating scene and how to be a strong man.
Yes, and what is most attractive to not just women, but...
people in general.
People in general.
Men and women.
Yeah.
Or and whatever you associate yourself as non-gender.
Politically correct.
Yes.
But basically why danger is important. For people to have and uncertainty and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And our usual question from the listener about a guy going to university and wanting to get the attention of someone. And
a
we have a couple
lady.
of tips.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't have to be pretty.
Well, a lady he is attracted to.
Yes.
Well
done. How very
smart lady at university.
Well,
all right.
Why is she smart? All right, we're going to stop this.
Because she's studying. All right, guys, enjoy. Episode number 3. Get into it. Thank you, Roger, for supplying the boss coffee. Iceland Black.
A sponsor of the podcast. We don't have any sponsors.
Yes,
probably because we haven't launched an episode yet.
Yeah, we should maybe try to do that first. And then maybe boss.
Cheers. How do you say cheers in Maltese?
I don't know how to say cheers.
My mum will be so insulted to hear that.
Yeah. Gosh, first one to find out.
I was going to say salute, but that's Italian. Is it salute?
Yeah, salut. I think they say salut. And that might be how the Maltese say it. I'm not too sure. Gosh.
So I guess we've started then.
We've started. How was your week, Rog?
My week was all right. It's Christmas. So my family and my wife's family, it was basically about the kids.
Yeah, pretty much.
I got myself a drone, sort of.
A drone?
Yeah.
No way.
Sort of.
How do you sort of get yourself a drone?
Well,
because I want to kind of do that.
We did Bad Santa. Do you know what Bad Santa is?
I know the movie.
It's nothing like the movie. So I'll sum it up really quickly. But you guys will know. Jay's an idiot. He doesn't know. But bad
Sorry, guys. Forgive me.
Bad Santa is so say you've got 10 people in the family. You each set a budget, it's like $100, and you have to give you buy one present that's kind of gender neutral or age neutral or whatever. That could be for anyone.
Yes. I know this.
Yeah, you pick 1 to 10.
That's what it's called, right? Yeah, Bad Santa.
So then if you're number 10, you can a present from someone else.
Yes.
I ended up with luggage, but someone else in the family got the drone, but I was flying it. Anyway, it's pretty cool. But
and then you could swap gifts later and this and that'll
steal.
But that's how the game goes. I forget the rules, and it's been probably a couple years since I last played that game. I keep forgetting that's what it's called. Bad Santa. That's right.
So that was cool.
Nice.
So we did that, ate a lot of food. I did a fast. You do fasting, don't you?
I have, but I haven't done one in a while. But it's good for you, yeah. I'm a believer in it.
Yeah, I think it is really good. I haven't heard anything really negative about it.
No.
But I did a fast because even up to Christmas, because everyone's on holidays, we're eating a lot of food. Mm-hmm. And I knew we were going to have a couple of big meals on Christmas Day.
Yep.
So Christmas Eve, I went from first thing in the morning until Christmas Day. So basically Christmas Eve, I didn't eat a single thing, and felt really good afterwards. Wow. And then was prepped for Christmas Day.
The feast.
Appreciated the food more, genuinely. Like when you're starving.
The beast of the feast. Yeah. Did you go in there like a beast on Christmas Day when you saw all the food laid out on the table?
You know what? I know you're joking. The Tassie Devil interpretation. Yeah. I didn't actually, because when you...
Dad?
What was that?
Your daughters are probably seeing you.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Tassie Dad? Bad Santa.
To be honest, when you do a long fast like that, for me anyway, I find you appreciate food more.
Oh, 100%.
So you're less likely to pig out. Because if you do that, you end up getting really queasy, or I do anyway, and feeling sick. But because you're so hungry, you just, I don't know, you savor it more and you don't want to pig out as much. Yeah.
And cool. I find that obviously while you're fasting it just slows everything down. That's why a lot of people do it for spiritual reasons, to like get rid of the noise and the emotions. There's a lot of people fast when they're trying to find clarity in life and make a big decision. They'll fast to maybe seek God, and by fasting they're kind of like putting to death the flesh. Part of the flesh is our desire to want to eat and drink and be comfortable. So it
is religious.
Yeah, it is definitely a religious practice, but it's just a health practice too. Yeah. But fasting slows everything down, and I find it's good to and
it's appreciation,
clarity. I think. And that's part of it.
Yeah.
What's the longest you fasted for?
4 days. I did.
4 days,
and it was actually okay. Like not.
With no food at all?
No, just water and black coffee.
My gosh, I think 27, 28 hours is the most I've done. I just get...
You say that, but... Well, you've done 27 hours, so that's significant.
I mean, by the time I was there, I was already numbing out to it all.
Yeah, by the second day, you're like, feel fine. You know, you kind of get over it. And even when I did break the fast on the fourth day, I didn't need to. Really didn't feel, I was out, so I kind of had to because I was with a friend. But other than that, I probably would have kept going. It's just, you eat a lot of the times out of boredom, you know. When you're busy, you can go a whole day without eating and not really notice it so much. But that's why I've got an issue with people that say, stark. Obviously, when people say they're starving, they don't really mean it. But there are people that are actually starving in the world who aren't really eating. And I think it's also, apart from the health benefits and the discipline practice of fasting, it is it's good to just go without for a while.
Yeah, you know 100%. Yeah. It's good for so many reasons. It just teaches you self-control, right? Yeah. And then you can maybe go without in other areas too.
Yeah,
you'll find that you'll be able to, maybe I don't need that phone or that car. Or
phone that's a really good example.
Yeah. Because fasting from, that's another way you can fast too. Yeah.
Try and stay off, social media
for a month or.
That's really hard. For a month, Jesus. Nuts.
I mean, I've closed my Facebook and Instagram at times for a month. And
yeah, but you've got like 7 different Instagram. I don't know which one is
so I find out what's going on my other account, but I did
account.
No, I have actually closed down for everything. I promise. But that's good. I mean, there's so many ways to fast. Some people fast off just treats and maybe drinking or whatever. Or sex even.
Yeah.
Awesome, mate.
All right.
That felt good.
It felt good. How about your Christmas?
Yeah, it was good. It was my first one back with family
that's good.
in 4 years. Yeah. So my last Christmas was 2015 with family. So I was overseas in between that. So I was going to be with the nephews especially. Nice. For me, it's more about being with the nephews and mum and dad because they're getting older. And
how old are your mum and dad?
Dad's like 78 and mum's 71. Yeah.
Something like that. Not 78. No. Yeah, my parents are a little bit younger than you.
Yeah.
My mum's a bit older than you or same age.
Yeah,
sorry, Mum. Jesus Christ. Really should know.
Yeah, Mum just turned 71 and come to think about it, my parents have their 52nd, I believe, wedding anniversary in a few days. Pretty amazing. It's 2019, so yeah, unreal. But yeah, it was good, man. Just good food.
Yeah.
Family, and pretty much that's it. Yeah.
Maltese food. If
a
anyone,
bit of a mix, seafood.
You eat seafood? That's Maltese love the seafood.
Yeah.
You've obviously eaten patsitsi.
Yes.
It's a Maltese dish, surely.
It is, yeah. I think sometimes the Turkish can say
It's pesky
they
Turks.
can take claim to it, but
Sorry.
there's been
Love
wars
Turkey.
against the Maltese and
Don't
the
really
Turks
love Turkey.
for way back.
Don't know about turkey.
Yeah.
I love eating turkey. No, I don't really like eating turkey.
And neither
either.
do I.
Yeah.
Sorry to our US listeners and viewers.
All 7 of you.
Yeah.
Why US? We're talking about turkey.
The turkey.
Yes, Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Anyway,
yes.
we're really rambling on here. But yeah, patsitsi are great, although they have like 300 calories in each one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Worth
Not
it
so
every
great.
bite.
Yeah. 100%. Try them out.
Yep. Nice ring, by the way. All right, we're fucking gonna stop distracting.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's rock and roll, my
Yes.
friends.
What are we starting off with?
I wanted to mention that Jay is in a show on Stan called Stan. Is it just Australia? Stan.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in Australia, we have a channel called Stan, and Jay is going to be appearing in episode 3 and 4, I believe.
Yeah, it's a guest role.
Yeah.
I performed the role back in late July, early August.
Was it July? Jeez, that was a while.
Yeah, it was a while ago now. So yeah, a good five months, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That show actually looks all right.
Looks legit. I actually watched episode 3 and 4 yesterday, and I was taken back by it. Really good filmmaking, storytelling. The acting was phenomenal. Some really great actors in there.
Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't. You watch some Australian TV, and because it gets filmed pretty rushed, right?
Typically
Soap
like, operas.
Yeah, your soap operas, Home and
Away.
Away, Neighbours, and you can kind of see it. This felt like they were given the time, and I'm sure it was still on a tight schedule. But man, the performers, and I looked up some of the leads in that show as well, and they look like they're guys who are doing stuff overseas in the US as well, and they have some good strong rep in the US as well. So they're Aussie actors who are on the international stage. So amazing. You could just tell. And there are some international actors in it.
Oh, really?
Joanne Froggatt from Downton Abbey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Joanne, I think that's how you say her last name. And Rupert, I believe, who plays Dom. They're both from the UK. They play brother and sister. Yeah, phenomenal. I had the privilege of meeting them as well. I was in scenes that they were in. So lovely people.
They have
Great
a lot
people.
of UK. There was a show on SBS called, can't remember, it was like a wolf or something. It had something to do with Aboriginals. Clever Man.
Oh, okay.
And that had
haven't
a couple
seen
of
it.
British actors, or at least one, the guy from Game of Thrones. I forget his name as well, but he was a great character in Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I was
wow.
surprised, he came to Australia to film this
Yeah.
series. But I think a lot of Australian shows do well in Britain and vice versa.
Yeah.
So there's that. But you rarely would you see an American actor come to
do an
Australia,
Aussie show,
to do a
yeah.
show. To do a film, so different, but
Yeah.
to do a show,
Yeah.
or to do an Aussie film, actually, they probably wouldn't do that.
I'm
either.
not even for an Aussie film.
No.
I don't think we just have the pay.
Well, we don't have the. Yeah, that's for sure.
We don't,
But we
yeah.
also don't have the. In my opinion, when we produce Australian content, a lot of it has to be have a certain criteria for Australian. How do you say things in it? Like subject matter, perhaps, or has to have some resemblance of Australia. So you have to include, say, the Harbour Bridge or the Outback or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And that becomes
country.
unappealing to the international audience, in my opinion. I'm just a dummy, but I don't know. But to me, I don't want to see a movie that is being pushed like a tourism ad. You know what I mean?
But do you think that would put off an American actor from acting in an Aussie film?
Yeah.
Do Aussie films
They don't
that
attract.
are written and produced here in Australia, they have to...
If they
the
get-
government tells them that they puts that law on them. That
If
have
they
to
get
push
funding
the
from
Screen
Screen Australia, I think. Yeah. This is what I think. I don't really know,
okay.
but it seems to be the case where if you watch most Australian movies, they're all very Australian, it seems. Whereas if you watch a British film or American film, it's more ambiguous,
Well, that guy from Kill
Yeah.
Me 3 Times, he was a UK actor,
Yeah,
you said, right? And
yeah, that's
he
right.
was one of
So
the
that's
leads. and
probably you watched that, didn't you?
Yeah,
Was that
yeah,
very
great.
Australian or was it more just generic? He was like a hitman, wasn't he?
Yeah, I thought it was a cool film.
Obviously, it's
it
not
didn't
all
come
the
with-
time. I'm just saying, it seems maybe that wasn't funded Really should probably do some research before rambling on
We'll look into that.
about the industry.
But yeah, the commas is great. Very encouraging. Stan dropped about 3 or 4 new series.
Yeah, they did.
Including the Commons. So yeah, if you're a member of Stan, check them out. Check out the Commons. I play Gianni. It's just a guest role, 2 episodes. I wish it was longer. I won't tell you what happens. You'll have to watch it. But great experience. It's encouraging to see Aussie TV getting better though.
Yeah, I agree. Good work,
Yes.
Jay.
Thanks. I'm getting better.
All right, let's get into it. So, in the last couple of weeks, Trump has been impeached. Now, when I heard that, I just assumed I don't feel like he's going to get out of office. And I don't feel like he's not going to be victorious in the next election next year.
You feel like he will be victorious?
Sorry, I feel like he will be victorious.
Yeah.
Based, not because I'm a fanboy of Trump or anything like that, but it seems like the Democratic Party is a bit all over the shop with what they're doing.
Man.
So when I heard he was impeached, I was like, that can't mean what I think it means. And after doing a bit of research, and I'm sure you did some research as well, that seems to be the case. Being impeached means one thing. From my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, but that means, man, what does that even mean? It means he's now got to go to a trial.
Yeah, by the
which
Senate.
Seems like it's been delayed for some reason. And the Senate then decides if he's going to be removed from office. So impeachment doesn't really mean he's going to be removed at all. It just means that it's in the next phase. He has to go to the Senate. But from my understanding is the Senate has to have a 2/3 majority voting to kick him out for him to be kicked out. And that's never going to happen because the Senate is majority
At the moment, it leans towards the Republican.
Massively,
I think there's like 50-something,
57%.
Yeah.
But they only need...
They need 66 out of the 100.
So it's not going to happen.
Yeah, there's 100 people in the Senate, 2 from each state. Usually people in the Senate stay around 6 years. So obviously there's always people changing after the 6-year thing, but their run. But yeah, at the moment it leans towards being Republican favoured. I think around the 50-something mark. So so that means Democrats have about 40-something seats, and they need 66. So it would require some Republicans to vote for his impeachment too, which I don't think is going to happen.
And what's he being impeached for? Something
because of his dealings
collusion?
with the Ukraine and trying to get dirt on Joe Biden and his son. And I think withholding. Things from the Ukraine, Ukraine before, until he got that dirt and stuff like that. I didn't dig too deep. That was all happening a while ago. But now they've got the impeachment happening. Nancy Pelosi has been pushing that big time. The House obviously voted for it, and I believe the House is majority. Is Democratic. But now Nancy's holding letters back. The letters that she needs to send off to McCormack. I think his name is Mitch McCormack.
So why is she doing that?
Because of the way it's favoured towards Republicans. So she doesn't want to go to trial right now. So at one stage she's pushing for, we need to get this impeachment going. We need to do it. And now because the Senate is favoured towards Trump and the Republicans, now she wants to withhold papers until apparently she can know she can be sure that it's going to be a fairer trial. But that's not how it rolls ever. You could have waited then until it was a fairer trial in the House for the Republicans. But so that's a little silly. I think if you're going to do it, just keep doing it. And obviously she knows that she's going to, if it goes to the Senate and he gets cleared, then all right, see you later. He can keep running and doing his campaign.
He's going to win after that.
Yeah, well, especially because he can have, imagine the field day Trump's going to have against Pelosi and the Democrats and the fake news and you guys are all silly and you're just trying to blah, blah, blah. And you don't, she doesn't like the voters that voted for me.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But
it just doesn't make sense what they're
I feel
doing.
like just going ahead with the whole trial, I can see they're trying to like tarnish his image.
Keep talking, Jay. I'm just going to make sure the camera's recording.
Great.
So we had an issue at the last...
Yeah, awesome, mate.
Go.
Awesome. I can see that they want to tarnish his image in hope that they can sway voters against him and for the Democrats. But
what they're doing
but they're
ends up
almost
being the opposite.
publicizing him and giving him constant attention, publicity. They say, well, what's that saying? Any news is good news, or any publicity is good publicity, or something.
Can I make a dumb assessment? Because you've spent a lot of time in America, and it sounds like you're more covered across it than I am. But from what I feel like will be a general person's perception, who's neither here nor there with the Republicans or the Democrats or whatever, but it seems like since he got elected, all the Democrats are focused on is let's get him out of office. Like it was impeachment from day one. How are we going to get him out? How are we going to get him out? Instead of focusing on what they should be doing in finding a better candidate to oppose him in the next election, coming up with, I don't know, like
great
stronger
ideas,
policies, good ideas, good people. Instead of that, they're just constantly trying to get rid of him. And each time they do that and fail, he becomes stronger. And that's why I said, if he doesn't get impeached, which it doesn't get removed from office, which it sounds like he won't, he's just going to demolish them because all they're in 2020, in November, because all they're focused on is trying to get him out instead of trying to do a good job for the country. Do you know what I mean?
I just feel like the politics the last 3 years or 4 years have been more like a sporting match. It's just like blue versus red, you know, Democrats versus Republicans.
What team are you on,
versus
Jay?
us?
Like, you know?
And to be honest, I don't really lean towards any team. I kind of find myself in the middle ground. I'm for some of the beliefs and the...
No. And you can't be like that, Jay. So you've got to be one side or the other.
That's right.
You know?
You can't paint yourself both colours.
Yeah, that's the problem, is you can't be... You almost can't be.
And it's almost like, you can't be. They almost paint that picture.
Yeah.
There is almost no middle ground. But and look, I'm sure there are some politicians out there that are trying to find a middle ground, but they're kind of getting swamped by the lefts, the left wing and the right wings, and they're just they're getting smashed. And I feel like they're just trying to do the opposite of what the other one wants to do. Yeah. Because that's that competition side.
And isn't it funny, like if you are for the army, the military force, and that, you have to be a Republican.
Yeah, if you're a believer and you're a Christian, usually that you fall then onto the right wing side. Yeah. You can't have, again, there can't be a blurring. There can't be a crossing over. I like a bit of I like what they stand for in these areas and on these topics and issues. And then I like in regards to these other topics and issues, I like where the right stands. Yeah. You know, like being human, pretty much. There's almost no room for that. Yeah.
I saw a graph of how American politics in particular, but I think it goes for worldwide, has changed over the years since about the 50s, where like left-wing people were here and right-wing people were here. And now the majority of left-wing people are here. So they've got more left and more right, which means obviously there's more of a displacement between the two. Yeah. So you just real extremes on both sides and very few people in the middle.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I hope the politics. It's all right, mate. Roger does that sometimes, you know, as you don't see this part, but you know, the legs are rubbing usually, and playing
can't help it, man. It's just the it's the hair that you've
I also heat the room up. We had to put the aircon on earlier, but I mean, I get used to these things.
The gases emanating from your body.
Yes.
Sorry. This is going sideways really fast.
And the poop I'm speaking right now. What? But, the poop I'm speaking right now.
3 years old, man. Hanging around your nephews too long. How old's your nephew?
Right. The youngest one is
This is 4. A podcast. You can say whatever you want.
Shite.
Shite?
Shit. How
did that feel?
The shit coming out of my mouth. Yeah. Bloody felt awesome. Yeah. Manliness. Masculinity. Alrighty, that was Trump, but let's move on from that. We've got some political things going on in Australia. Why don't you introduce us all to that stuff, right?
I mean, this stuff has kind of been going on for a while, but in the news the last few days, this is, December 27 today? Yeah. The Diversity Council of Australia. The fact that there is a Diversity Council, I never knew that. There's people there... Yeah. Purely,
I'm not surprised, but just
purely employed to make sure there's diversity. So that's a problem in and of itself, because if you've got someone that has to find their whole occupation relies on there being an issue with not enough diversity. So they have to fabricate if there isn't any.
Because if there's no issues, then they'll lose their job, right?
Which is a problem with government jobs in general, you know?
Yeah.
Too much bureaucracy. Anyway, they are telling bosses to remove the word Christmas for celebrations during Christmas time for fear of offending non-believers.
Yes.
Now, I've got a problem with that.
What's your problem?
My problem is, first of all,
to me.
I think there are very few people who are actually offended by that to start with. Number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is, if you're offended, be offended. Who cares? You're offended by the word Christmas, you know?
Yep.
That's offensive to me. They're just such an idiot.
I know. If we're going to go into all that, right?
What about offending me?
This is the thing about, this is the thing about being politically correct. There's no end to it then.
No.
If we're going to worry about what maybe people who are the more of the minorities or what the minorities are caring about and getting offended about without taking into account what the majority is getting offended and caring about, then isn't that discrimination?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter if it's discrimination doesn't only mean not listening to the minorities.
Yeah.
It means not listening to anybody. Discrimination, crosses everyone.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, if they get offended, but now we get offended.
But we're
what
not
are you going to do
offended. That's
there?
the problem, because we're sane people. You know? That's why it's always
that's
one-sided.
the thing. Do you think they're making up that there are people out there
No. I think
that are getting offended?
I think that it's a lot of privileged people, and I hate using that term because it's generally BS, but there are a lot of people in a position where they don't have any issues going on in their life, as in, oh man, this is a whole other topic that I just remembered. Maybe we can talk about it in the next episode, next podcast. But we're living in a world where people are generally really comfortable, generally speaking, especially in the major cities of first world countries. Everyone's quite comfortable, and we don't have any drama or any issues that we normally would have had, say, hundreds of years ago or medieval times, when everything's basically life and death. You've got to find food, and that's your main focus. And nowadays, the problem is we have too much food, and people are obese and stuff like that. So we've cushioned the corners of the world, and no one has any danger or excitement, which is a topic that we're going to go into about women, danger or excitement going on in their life that they have to kind of fabricate it to create a purpose. Some kind of thing that they've got to, it's got to be bigger than themselves, which is a common thing, especially for men, I believe. Being a man, that's how I feel. Like, there's a romanticism towards when wars were going on, as terrible as they are, but it brings people together because you're fighting for something bigger than yourself. So my opinion is, people that do these things where they're saying, well, people are going to get offended by the word Christmas, let's not say Christmas, is they're trying to fight a battle that they believe is bigger than themselves, but they're fighting a battle that's not there. There aren't really anyone.
Because they're desperate, they're just kind of picking on anything.
They're bored.
And they're bored. Yeah. And just as a side note, it just shows that there's also a lot of people out there not going out there and maybe living the lives they want to live. They've accepted just living safe and comfortable and ticking the boxes off, and maybe like Gary Vee talks very much about us, most people just wanting to. We get too concerned about what others are thinking of us, so we try and show this image of like, look, I've got the nice car, look, I've got a house, I've got two, and I've got a career, and I've got a good job. I'm a lawyer, an accountant, and a lot of people actually hate these jobs. And the money they need to be making to keep up this lifestyle so they can look good in the eyes of other people, so they can think that they look good, and so that they can think that others are thinking good of them, because they care too much what others are thinking, and who's to know what they really are thinking anyway. But just in hope of thinking and feeling that others think good of you, we go out there and we try and have these high overheads to afford the car and afford the house, and in order to afford that overhead, we have to go out there and try and get jobs that make us like 130,000 a year that we hate, whereas maybe we could do a job that we enjoy for 90,000 a year, and we would be a lot more happier. But then we can't afford the house and the car and everything. And then, people would rather hate their lives in order to try and afford everything so people can think good of them instead of love their lives, make a little less, and who cares what others think.
Yeah.
And the reality is most people probably don't think much difference anyway, whether they're making 130 and have the car in the house, or if they're making 90 and don't have the car in the house. I mean, and who cares anyway if it changes?
Yeah.
As long as you're happy, right? But yeah, I think a lot of people aren't pursuing their goals. They're not living with adventure and excitement. And as we're going to go into the relationship side of all that, like we're just all playing it safe, and we're finding what we used to get from other things in the past, we're finding it in other ways, and it's almost unhealthy. And I think people, like you said, people are going to this now. They're trying to fight fights for others beyond themselves that aren't really that important.
No, but it could be just like people. It is easy to get stuck in a rut. I mean, we've been
100%, there. 100%,
where once you get into a job, for example, and then you get a car and you perhaps get a house and a family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
and there's nothing wrong with wanting these things.
Of course. Well, a lot of them you need to have.
Yeah, you need to have.
But then you're kind of stuck. You have to maintain that job that you perhaps didn't like and only saw as short term to maintain all this stuff that you've accumulated. And then that's when you get stuck in a routine and you're trying to get out of the rat race, I guess. And there would be people like this who then need to feel some excitement and have, something else to fight for, to have meaning in their life. And then this is a stretch, but then perhaps they find that meaning in fighting for other people. But perhaps the other people don't have an issue, but they believe that they do. So it's like, my purpose in life now is I've got this job and I've got all these things that I have to keep doing, but I'm fighting for these bigger issues that perhaps are non-existent. Because circling back to the topic, I really don't think people are getting offended by the word Christmas, and I think it's an insult for two reasons. It's an insult to people who celebrate Christmas to say you can't say the word Christmas, and it's an insult to the intelligence of the majority of people to suggest that the word Christmas is going to offend someone. Yeah. If you're a Muslim or Jewish or Hindu or whatever, how could you be offended by the sounds coming out of your mouth? Christmas. That's not offensive.
Yeah, they're saying because I mean the truth of Christmas is celebrating the birth of Christ, right? Which is a Christian religion and belief. And they're thinking, they're suggesting that by us saying Christmas, the thoughts that Muslims and Jewish people and Indian and whatever other religion you are, if you're non-Christian or non-believers, they're going to think, they're celebrating the birth of Christ. But I mean, let's be honest. In like modern society,
no one even thinks that.
Who conjures up the birth of Jesus? Unless you're really a Christian and you're going to church and you're hearing about it all the time, that Christmas is the time of the birth of Jesus. Most people who are, if they're non-religious or they're not Christian, when they hear the word Christmas, they're conjuring up Christmas trees and Santa Claus and presents and giving gifts to one another. And is that a bad thing?
Yeah.
It's probably ingrained in their childhood.
Yeah.
And it's not like we don't allow them to celebrate Hanukkah and Ramadan and all their other things. And we're telling them you can't say that in this country. You can't say you can't mention those words. They have the freedom to mention those words and to celebrate those words in this those events in this country. The Chinese New Year, they do a big thing in Sydney.
Yeah, and people love it.
People love it. But imagine we said, no, we can't be calling it Chinese New Year because the Christians are going to get offended and the Muslims Chinese. And people who aren't, and the who aren't Chinese and who aren't in that faith or whatever, they're not going to like it or they're going to be offended, And it's just, it's that. If we really want to go into people getting offended, that can go back and forth.
Exactly.
Tennis match.
Yeah. Yep. we don't like it. That's
Whack.
not the sound of tennis, by the way. That's the sound of your Friday night.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jay's Friday night,
Mate.
So I'm not even going to comment.
Private YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Check them out.
No. Tell me, talk to me about what you found that you sent to me that I refused to bring up.
Oh.
Yeah, your Friday night.
The news. The bizarre news?
The bizarre news.
Okay.
Which I think is actually a lot more common than you would think. I've seen stories about that kind of stuff before.
Yeah. Unreal.
I'm afraid to Google it, but
yeah, okay.
Jay's going to take us through this one because he's got a special familiarity with shoving things up.
Yeah. My typical Friday night, mate. I was going through my news app, my favorite apps on my phone. We're gonna maybe go into that later in the podcast. Favorite phone apps, but I came across a weird. God,
man,
this isn't going well.
How are you gonna broach this? just come out with it.
Okay, so apparently there was a 60-year-old Chinese man.
60
years old.
That makes this story even worse.
Yeah, right. He had to get an 18 centimeter long bottle, which had a 5 centimeter wide base.
Wow.
He had to get it surgically removed from his rectum.
Man.
Right? So he's gone into the emergency room, whatever
We'll have the picture in the... Can you put the picture
we'll try and send
a
picture for the YouTube viewers. Yes, it's an X-ray.
Yep.
But he had to
Google it, though, if you're just listening. I suggest you don't. Google.
If you want to sleep.
Rectum
again.
18 centimeter.
5 centimeter base. He reportedly claimed that he was using it to scratch an itch.
Scratch an itch. Right.
And then the bottle accidentally went up his rectum, as it happens
scratching
when you're trying to scratch that rectum.
18 centimeters. That bottle, like here, scratching the bottom of his rib cage. His lungs.
He must have had a heart itch or something. The base of the heart, it gets itchy sometimes.
Man, how is that even possible? How is that possible?
The small intestines, they can get itchy. And hey, how are you meant to scratch them? Without using an 18 centimeter long bottle. I mean, apparently the bottle was this perfumed water as well.
What, it was
interesting.
Full? The bottle was
maybe not full.
Was that a joke?
But yeah, no, it was a. I don't know if it was full. I hope not. Gosh, imagine that cracked inside of him.
Well, he'd be
cracked in his crack.
Oh.
No,
but
like
right there.
It was. I'm sure it was empty.
Why would you be sure when you're shoving something that big up your?
Well, maybe he kept it like
nothing
to have some
is
weight
for certain
there.
anymore. Oh man, are we going to get off this topic?
Oh my gosh! Anyway, that was some bizarre news that we came across this week. It was We'll try and send the X-ray picture.
Yep. Okay.
All right, moving on.
Let's go. Morning routines, I guess. You want to talk about that?
All right. I think morning routines are important. I'm one of those people who can't just. I can wake up and rush off to work or rush into my day and do what I have to do and get out of the house, but I prefer not to. When I plan my morning, I don't. Where do you lean, Rog? Are you a person who needs to get up and do his things in the morning before he rushes off into the day?
I am, but it's harder now with children. But
big time.
Let's just assume this was before kids, or even sometimes now that I have kids, they're up at generally around 6 a.m. So it makes it harder unless I wake up at 4:30 or 5, which I have done and then gotten a routine happening. And I find that the day is far more productive and successful in terms of doing things, accomplishing things that I set out to accomplish. Mm-hmm. And I think it really depends on if you're a morning person or a night person. I'm definitely a morning person and I can't get much done at night in the evenings because I just get tired and want to go to bed or just relax. But getting up in the morning and having a set few things that are going to set you up for the day, whether it be meditation or going to the gym, which is what I'd like to do, stretching, having a cup of coffee and having some peace before everyone wakes up. Anything like that can be a set routine.
That centers you and maybe it wakes you up properly for the day.
So that way, if you have a successful day, when you wake up the next morning and you do the same thing again, it's like I'm primed to do and have another kicking goals and stuff like that. And it seems like it's very common with highly successful people is that they don't wake up late and then just get up and start the day at roughly.
You just touched my hand again.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, Roger. You say you're married, mate. We might have to throw some pictures in.
Sorry, babe.
To the YouTube video just to show.
But
I totally agree. I would say I'm a morning person, but I can also be a night person. I'm a bit of a fusion, and it causes me not to sleep much sometimes. But I'm definitely more of a morning person than a night person.
Yeah.
I would rather relax than at night.
When do you train? Do you train in the morning?
I usually train in the morning. Yeah. I prefer to train in the morning. Yeah. I find in the afternoon I get tired and just thinking of it through the day, knowing that that's ahead.
Yeah.
Mentally is draining
as
well.
opposed to knowing that I've done that.
I've done it. I feel great. Yeah. I feel confident. My mind is clear. I have the endorphins pumping through the body.
It's probably the best morning routine. You purely just working out as being your morning routine,
I also like to, when I get up, if we want to get really into details, I stretch my neck out, make sure I align my body, and then I have a coffee. I like to sit down, have a coffee, have my water, have a couple glasses of water.
Yeah.
And then I write some things out. I write 5 things I'm grateful for. And I really try and think about it. What are 5 things right now today that I'm grateful for? And I write it every morning. I usually try and do it every morning. And then I write 3 goals for the day as well that I want to tick off today. And I try to make them in line with my long-term goals, So they usually have things to do with the podcast or with acting or life in general, fitness, or something that's I've been delaying or procrastinating on. I usually put that get this done today or take steps towards this. So that kind of sets my focus up for the day as well. I read a bit of scripture, and that kind of centers me spiritually. If I can, I try and find time to say some affirmations too, just to get the mental space right. I haven't been doing it a lot lately, the last few weeks, but I do try and just 5 minutes worth of affirmations and really trying to get my identity straight within myself, because that can be at war, right? Sometimes we think we can do it or we can't do it. And I really try and think and claim who I want to be, where I want to go, who I am now. And make that clear to myself early in the morning. I try and meditate for 10 minutes. Yeah. Center myself. Meditation, I feel, can be done.
Stuff in the morning.
I try and do about an hour and a half of stuff.
Really?
Or at least an hour of worth of things. But I would rather that. And then, rush off into the day and just you almost feel like you're, already just off balance, you know? When I wake up in the morning, I'd rather lose a bit of sleep, but get that an hour and a half of things done. So that's pretty much my morning routine. I think I wrote down some of the stuff here, but that's pretty much, most of it. Watch a YouTube video, positivity as well. Maybe a 10-minute one or something, or something educational. Working out though is the best.
It is. And you do, what kind of workouts do you do?
I like to combine weights training and high intensity interval training.
Oh, you like circuit training. You'd love CrossFit or F45 or something like that.
Yeah, see, I'd love all that stuff. I train at UFC at the moment, Park. So, sometimes I just do it's really cool. Really easy to just do your own high intensity workout. So I usually maybe pick 6 workouts. When I was really going hard at it, I was doing maybe 9 workouts and then and doing them at three rounds. Yeah, so 9 stations. Yeah. And then doing 3 rounds of that. Yeah. Sometimes even 10 stations, or doing 6 stations, doing 3 rounds of that, then going to another 6 and doing 3 rounds of that. That's grueling. But I injured my knee recently. For the last 6 weeks I've had a pulled knee tendon. So I kind of stopped doing the high intensity and was just doing weights training. Okay. And now I find myself transitioning back to high intensity. So I'll do maybe 3 weights workouts and then some maybe 6 high intensities. Yeah. What about yourself, man?
What, for the gym?
Yeah.
At the moment, I've done the F45 and a little bit of CrossFit and stuff like that. But typically what I always go back to is my standard training, which is weights. So I do, but now I had an ankle operation and I want to do more cardio. So I get on the bike and do try and do like 10Ks on the bike, which is relatively easy and quick.
Yeah. How long does that take you?
Not long, maybe 20 minutes. So I might even do 10 minutes at the start and 10 minutes at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so it's really minimal.
Break it up.
Yeah, it's just a good warm up. You get heart rate up, then go and do 30, 40, 45 minutes of weights.
And what do you do weights wise? Do you do total body?
No.
Upper body, lower body.
Split. So major body parts once a week. So chest, back, legs, shoulders once a week as well. Abs twice a week, and and the arms once a week as well. So I might do like chest on its own because it's a weak point for me. Back and biceps, legs on their own as well.
So you do back and biceps together. So you do all the pulls together. So you're not supersetting.
I do some supersets of things, but I don't superset a back exercise with a bicep. I have in the past, but just
it's very tiring, right? I mean, unless you're going for endurance or just toning.
Yeah, it's good to do, but it depends on the gym setup. Like if you're there when it's busy, it's hard to try and hold two pieces of equipment as well, unless it's like a couple of dumbbells. Then you can do it. But
that's why training in the morning is really good. Though.
Yeah.
If you miss that morning rush, the early morning rush, you just go in after that.
Yeah. Then you're screwed.
Sorry. Yeah.
If you miss it. Oh, sorry. If you miss the rush.
Yeah. If you miss the rush, it's
6
great.
a.m. rush.
Yeah. Usually people, dedicated people, obviously going in before work. But if you go in
7:30.
Yeah. Just
everyone's kind of left.
Yeah. And you can superset a little better. But I usually superset when I'm doing like say chest and biceps because I don't work out my biceps when I'm doing chest.
Exactly.
And then I'll do back and triceps or something. But I guess sometimes doing back with biceps will just because when you're doing back, you are activating your biceps.
That's right.
But only minimally. Yeah.
So at least it's warmed up, but you haven't really worked them out.
Yeah, so then you just smash them and tire them out doing bicep curls or something like that. Yeah, great. And how many workouts would you normally do? If you're doing back and biceps, for instance, would you do 3-3?
Oh, how many exercises?
Yeah, for back and how many for biceps?
Main body parts, at least 3 exercises.
And 4 sets or?
Sets? No, like even 3 or 2 sets.
Yeah, cool.
So if it's a heavy thing, I only do 2 sets. But if it's higher reps, like 12 or 15, I'll do, say, 3, maybe even 4 sets. So I think the general rule that I learned over the years was 9 sets for a major body part and 5 to 6 for a smaller body part.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're doing 3 exercises of 3 sets, so chest could be, bench press, incline press, and cable crossovers or something, 3 sets each, then you've got 9, then you should be done as long as you're training relatively hard to fatigue.
I always thought it was 10 sets across the board.
No. I mean, look.
10
I'm no expert,
sets.
I think definitely for smaller body parts, you're not going to need as much stimulation as you would for your quads, for example, which are huge muscles.
Yeah, wow.
You wouldn't need to do the same thing for biceps, which is, relatively small, or way smaller than...
not Rogers, though.
No, well, mine are enormous, but that's the Maltese genetics.
That's all.
Actually, no, Maltese guys, we got big calves.
Yeah, right.
Have you got big calves?
Yeah. I believe I do. Yeah, I definitely don't have skinny legs. And I don't work out legs a lot, to be honest with you. I leave it kind of to the high intensity workouts because most of them are leg focused.
Yeah.
Your squats and your tires and your sled.
Flipping the tire and stuff like that.
And burpees and stuff like that. Have you done them with lifting the knees up as well? So not just jumping, but jumping up. Yeah, with the jump.
Yeah. Tucks.
The
leg
tucks.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's tiring.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
that's morning routine, mate.
All right. Look, sorry about that quick edit, guys. But Jay, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast that we wanted to discuss. And this is something that has come up more recently as we're in our 30s, and I'm seeing it. It seems to be becoming way more prevalent and obvious with guys that I know and guys that I hear about through friends becoming depressed and suicidal even. And it seems to be more than what I would have expected.
Yeah.
And I think it comes back to what we discussed earlier in this podcast about people not having a purpose and stuff like that, and I'm getting bored.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of anxiety amongst men and depression and perhaps suicidal tendencies. And I've experienced that firsthand with a couple of friends. I'm not sure if you have, but
not so much suicidal, but I've seen friends putting too much worth in the relationships they're in, getting too much life sustenance from it.
Yeah.
But definitely men being confused. Yeah.
And trying to think about it and why this seems to be happening as guys get older and what the reason is. And this was something that I was thinking about in particular in relation to a friend who is depressed and more so because of his success or lack of with women and wanting to be in a relationship but finding it very difficult and even harder as time goes on to find that companionship.
Yep.
And trying to think about why that is happening with this particular person or people in general. And then we started talking on text and came up with, also while discussing with my wife, but came up with what I think is some necessary traits that men have to or should have, generally speaking, to be attractive to the opposite sex or the same sex. And I'm not just talking sexually either, but also like what we would find attractive in another man in terms of looking up to him and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is danger is probably one of the most important things. And to articulate what I mean by danger, I mean unpredictability, spontaneity, excitement, all that kind of stuff can be classed as dangerous. And it doesn't mean that he's going to be doing something that is risking your life or his life or anything like that. Could be, because that is attractive, guys that do extreme sports and stuff like that.
I'm sure a lot of women find that attractive. Yeah,
and that appeals to me as
the
well.
Bravery of
bravery,
the guts to do
stuff
that
like soldiers and stuff like that.
It's appealing, yeah.
But that's not exactly what I mean. What I mean is when you're with someone, particularly for a woman who's with a man, they don't want to be bored and they don't want to be in a relationship where the guy is very predictable and drops everything for her.
Yeah.
Because that isn't exciting. That becomes very you're very
too
certain.
Safe.
Yeah. You're very certain
too
of
predictable.
what's going to happen. You know, Tony Robbins talks about that as well.
Comes across needy almost.
Yeah. You want certainty and uncertainty. You want a balance between.
That's the kind of
both.
danger we're talking about. Not so much like physical danger and putting your life on the line, but the danger of like being able to walk away and having your own strength and the danger of the uncertainty.
But there is a little bit of that element as well. Mm-hmm. So it is appealing after discussing this with my wife, and she confirmed it, and a couple of other people as well, and yourself, to know that, and I don't mean this in a bad way. So that's the caveat here. To know that a man is dangerous enough that he could hurt me. You know,
we mentioned
not
this,
just typically physically, but hurt me, but chooses not to because he is controlled and he doesn't. So Jordan Peterson talks about this as well. For a guy to have the ability and the capacity to do dangerous things, scary things, hurtful things, but he holds it back. It's always just simmering under the surface. Do you know what I mean?
He's not out of control.
Not out of control, but he
chaos.
could be. He has the potential to do damage, the potential to hurt someone, and the potential to inspire fear in your partner or other people. But he manages to just keep that bubbling under the surface because he might need to release that at certain points, that's a really big point that I really believe in. Yeah. A guy should have the ability to exert power and danger
when needed,
and violence when it is necessary, but he's always keeping it just below the surface, you know. And that I find would be a very attractive trait to someone, to know that you've got someone sort of, this is a bad metaphor, but sort of on a leash kind of thing. Not on a leash, but you know what I mean. It's like, I can release this if I want to. You mess with me.
Yeah,
you know?
Because I think part of the attraction for women towards men is that, can he look after me? can he
physically as well.
Can he physically look after me? And if we had a family, could he look after us?
And the kids. Yes.
That's a primal thing that goes way back. You know, I'm sure that women have that within them. That can
innate,
this guy? It's an innate primal need and desire. Can this for protection? And look, I know women can look after themselves, but there is also a desire for a strong physical man. And not just physically, but does he have the capacity mentally, emotionally to stand up if needed for us, for the family? You know, and I think that's attractive. There are too many wimpy wussy men out there these days now, and we've kind of been made to believe that that's the nice guy. We have to be this nice person, and this whole politically correct thing as well is not helping. So we called it being a controlled violent animal.
Yes, CVA.
So CVA.
Yeah.
And I don't like to see it as a tamed animal, or as a domesticated animal. He's not domesticated.
He's wild.
He's still naturally a wild animal, but he's learned to manage those drives and those emotions for when it's needed.
He chooses not to to release it, not to lose his cool. But he's completely capable of doing it.
Yeah.
And just picturing that in my mind of a guy, if you were to use like a stereotypical guy or an animal like a lion or something like that can kill you, but is so controlled and so stoic, I guess. He just it's even more powerful that someone has that ability but chooses to restrain it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think you find that a lot with martial artists who black belts are experts in their art, in their field. But you don't see them going around beating people up because they've got nothing to prove. They know that they can tap you out or destroy you, wreak havoc. Yeah. But they don't because they can. And that, I think, is a very attractive and strong trait in anybody, man or woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do we get to that place, right? How do you be a controlled violent animal? Because being a violent animal is not attractive. It's unsafe. And being just controlled or wimpy is not attractive. So how do you get to that middle ground of being a controlled, how do you get to that place of strength and knowing where you don't have to prove anything, you don't have to be crazy violent, and you don't have to be too wimpy either. And we discussed, right, I believe putting too much power, like as a guy, putting too much power in the relationship and the need for it and the need for that lady. I don't think women they want to be desired. They want to be needed to a certain extent, but not needed in order for the guy to be happy. Like they don't want to feel like, oh, this guy needs me in order to be happy or needs me in order to go forward in life. And if I'm not there, he's going to collapse.
He has to have, circling back to the relationship thing and why this is relevant is a guy, and this is directly related to a couple of friends who are going through this at the moment, who, when they do go on a date or anything like that, they almost drop everything. And I'm guilty of this in my early, dating life. Yeah. And it always, obviously, worked out horribly because I would drop everything and be completely for the woman.
Putting in time for her, rescheduling your schedule.
If anything she wanted to do,
making her the priority.
Doesn't matter what I had. And that sounds bad saying making her the priority, not making her the priority. Or saying it as a negative.
But I think women don't want to be the priority.
They don't.
If they were to be totally honest.
Almost does.
Yeah.
Imagine having someone always drop everything for you. And the problem is
a lot of pressure for the lady to feel like you're the priority.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I've got to deliver.
Yeah. And the way I grew up, and I'm sure the way you grew up as well, is you want to be the chivalrous gentleman.
And Hollywood films and romantic films don't help. Paint the right image either.
And people brag about, I'll do anything for my woman, my partner, and that sounds good on paper. Yeah. But I really believe that is detrimental in the long term.
Yeah, it might look good on film too. Yeah. But detrimental to the long-term success of a relationship.
Because, again, this directly relates to some people that I know who drop everything and everything's focused around that partner that they've just started dating, and then they wonder why they get friend-zoned and it doesn't work in the end. And it's because what you need to have, which I truly believe, is a purpose. The guy has to have, the guy or girl, anybody has to have an overarching purpose and goal
beyond the relationship.
Beyond the
right?
relationship, and that's
the girl can't be your focus and your main purpose and goal in life.
And and that's their main thing going on in life, and everything else almost has to come second. So if he or she does give you a call and say, "Well, let's do this," and you don't drop everything, you say, "Well, I can't do that right now. I'm engaged in this task, and I have to achieve this. So I'm going to be occupied for the next couple of days." Yeah. But after that, sure.
I've got this deadline to meet. Yeah. I've got this meeting to go to, and I need to work on this right now.
That's attractive to someone. To know that someone is working on something bigger than themselves and
beyond the relationship.
And then that person, that girl, for arguments, for this conversation's sake, is just coming along for the ride.
Yeah. That's exciting.
That's exciting. And that's what I believe is missing in a lot of misguided courting practices of guys who think they need to drop everything and focus everything
make them
on
the focus, and then she's going to feel loved that way, and maybe want to stay with me and love me, and in
where they should be focusing on themselves, improving yourself, and focusing on your goal and what you want to do in your life, and then everything else. People are attracted to that, not attracted to someone who is just going to be there to serve them. No one wants a servant anymore.
Yeah. And I guess, look, there is something attractive, especially if you're pursuing a goal that matters to you, not just I'm busy doing my job and I'm trying to make money, but like if you're pursuing something that you're passionate about as well, that lights you up, and she sees you light up when you do it, and maybe when you're actually performing in it, she sees you in your element. There's something sexy and attractive about that, and she doesn't feel like she's your be all and end all in life. That
not completely reliant on her. And that doesn't even have to be a career thing or anything like that. Could be your hobby.
Your hobbies,
Your hobby is like playing chess. If you're obsessed with playing chess,
and you're good at it,
and you're like, no, I've got to practice or something like that. It can be anything like that,
Yeah, it just shows balance, and it shows that again that you're not just this guy who gets his identity and his strength just from the lady, because the lady doesn't want that. The lady, I'm sure ladies out there don't want to feel like this guy gets his strength and his identity from me, and if I was to walk out of his life, he's going to collapse. There's something attractive about a guy who's like, you know what, I've been pursuing this goal or doing this thing before you entered my life. I'll keep doing it while you're in my life, and if you happen to leave, I'm going to still be doing this.
I'll be fine.
I'll be fine. And if you happen to stay, I'll be doing this. So we have to work around it. And I'm reading a book by Esther Perel at the moment. It's called Mating in Captivity. And she talks about the two human desires of, there's a part of us, primal innate side of us, that desires security and safety. And going down that road can lead to like a deep love and intimacy. But there's another opposing side of us, equally as important, that desires a sense of adventure and excitement, almost like that danger, that unpredictability, the spontaneity. And that's where like desire breeds, and you might say lust breeds, that's where exciting sex breeds, and whereas intimacy and deep love breeds insecurity. And she's trying to push that. She's suggesting, can we find a place where both can exist, can coexist, because we tend to either go one way or the other. When relationships start off, they're usually in that exciting, unpredictable side, because you're two different people. You have your own space. You don't really know each other yet. You're getting to know each other, and there's this excitement, there's this lust and this craving and desire for one another. And then as time goes on and you start to move in together, you get used to each other, you know a lot about each other, you get into your patterns and your routines, and it starts to, love, and there's safety and there's security. Now the love is deeper, but desire is faded. How can you find both? And one of the things she brings up that she believes will enable to keep desire once safety and security comes into the relationship and love blossoms. She thinks a way to keep desire there is to maintain a level of separateness and having your own space, your own thing that you do. And I think having a big goal is a major part in maintaining some level of separateness.
That's why it's really healthy for guys to have their own guy friends as well.
Yeah, and doing for women to have their own women's friends. Yeah.
And doing their own things with those friends that they had before.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, like you mentioned, we've made this mistake so many times.
Yeah.
I know when I meet somebody that I really like and I feel like it's reciprocated, I tend to just make that my priority, you know. And one of the relationships I was in LA was like that. Like I made this girl a massive priority, and I did not really maintain any level of separateness, whereas she was, you know, she had a lot of her friends already there, and I met her just coming back into LA, hadn't established a lot of friendships, and a lot of things in my life was chaos. So I found security in that, and then like almost though kept it as my source of security. So yeah, it was a bad move on my end,
it's
you know,
holding on too tight.
And it became something I needed because it was the only stable thing, you know, the job and the career I was pursuing with the acting and everything, even where I was living was constantly changing. So a lot of chaos going on. So in a bad way, I hung on to that as a place of security, and it wasn't attractive. So after 7 months, it ended, you know, and I got almost too needy and I was putting up too many rules in order to keep the safety, but I should have allowed an element of danger and spontaneity and uncertainty to stay in there. But I mean, one can only learn from their past experiences.
We can, if there are guys listening, and hopefully they can, it is very hard, you know, if you're in a relationship, or like sometimes you have to go through it to realize that even if you've been told 100 times, you still make that mistake because you believe that this is different. She's the one, or whatever it is.
I think it's just got to be, each time you go into a new relationship, you have to remind yourself.
Yeah. So for anyone
you need to do this,
listening out there that might be going through this or have done so in the past, just really believe that to have a successful relationship, or to just be successful in general as a man, is to focus on something that you want to achieve and make that your priority. And it could be anything, but don't drop everything. Don't drop that for anything, and keep that as your number one priority. I think that's a healthy thing to do, whether it be a hobby or a career or whatever it is. But I don't know.
And maintaining and beyond that, maintaining a level of separateness, which having the goal helps in that area of maintaining a level of separateness between you and your partner. Yeah. But there's other things you can do, like we mentioned, having guy friends you hang out with. Same with the
or hobbies,
woman, or hobbies you do.
You know what I don't? I don't get people that don't have hobbies. There are so many interesting things to do in the world, and my problem is there's not enough time or resources to do them all. Like, how could you possibly be bored in this day and age? There's so much to do.
Yep.
When I see people and friends that all they do is they go to work, they do their job, and they might love their job. Typically, a lot of people that I know don't, but they're good jobs. They pay well, and they help support their family. But then that's it. They don't really do anything else. And
or they just go back home to their partner and watch their TV.
Watch TV for a couple of hours, go to bed, and do it. And then dishes Saturday, Sunday, you know, they might go and watch a movie or something like that, but that's not a hobby. But people that don't take up anything and they don't exercise, because that's obviously we've discussed that to death. That's obviously important. But going and learning new things, you know, like taking up archery or playing online chess or
what about
sport?
People? What about people who would argue, I don't have the time for that,
Everyone
or I don't have the money?
Well, there are plenty of things you can do for free, you know, or for a very minimal cost, or you can sacrifice things that you're wasting money on. But even if you're not sure that you would like it, it might not be something that you want to do. Just try it and see, because you don't know. And then you can get to the end of your life and say, well, I tried doing that. I tried doing this. 100%. That was fun. I liked that. And that led to this and blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Stay curious, right?
Stay curious, stay learning, and feed your brain as well as your body. And you do that by reading and by educating yourself and by trying new experiences.
Yep. I think listening to curiosity. If you have if you're leaning towards trying something, what the heck? Just try it out. It might lead you to a passion, or a skill you didn't know you had, a natural ability for something, an affinity for something.
And if it doesn't, you're still better off having given it a crack, and now tick it off.
And then you get better at doing that, at listening to your curiosity and exploring it and seeing where it might lead. Plus, you come across as much more of a fun, attractive person.
And you got stuff to talk about. That was good.
But so much to talk about in regards to this topic.
I'm sure we'll cover it again in future episodes.
Definitely be revisiting.
Yeah, we're probably running a bit low on time.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through the apps quickly, or should we leave that for next week?
I guess I can quickly, Libby app is it's an app I read off. It's like, what's that book app? Not audio book. It is like audio.
The native Apple one.
Yeah, I believe. I'm not sure if it's specific to Apple or not, but it's an app I use on my phone, Libby. It allows me to connect different libraries I'm a member of around the world. So I have Liverpool Library here, Pikes Peak Library in Colorado, and they're all under the same app, and I can look for books in each library.
Libby as in library. Got it.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I came up with that all myself.
Libby. Hey.
Yeah, that was a very mocking laugh. Very funny. Shut up.
I didn't think much of the name either at first. But it allows me to borrow books to read on my phone or to listen to on my phone.
I didn't know that was the thing. Okay, that's cool.
It's pretty cool. Makes reading a little easier. I would say that's my favorite at the moment.
Okay.
What's yours, mate? Bumble? Married.
Sorry. No. Oh, man, I've got a few. But should we just go through one?
Yeah.
I use...
I have a few.
Man, okay.
Around
Okay, well, look, let's do another one next week.
Okay.
All right? Let's talk about... I've got one called Multi-Timer, which... It basically looks like that if you can see it, but essentially it's a lot of timers, but I use it for a weekly goal setting. So, for example, in 1 week, I can reset them now anyway because it's Friday, but I want to do 7 hours of gym training during the week, 2 hours of stretching, an hour of meditation, 3 hours of reading, blah blah blah, whatever it is, whatever else it is you want.
It's a weekly timer goal.
It's whatever you want it to be. I do it for the week.
Yep.
But they're like I've also got timers for running, so you can do like interval training. So this is my running section. It's 22 minutes of running, where it'll be like 3 minutes jogging, and then it'll tell me the rest or walk or whatever. So you can use it for that as well. But predominantly, I use it for my weekly goal. So I want to get in 7 hours of gym training, 3 hours of reading, blah, blah, blah. And I just click, it starts ticking down. When I finish the gym, click it again.
You just have to remember to
do it.
Yeah.
Yep. And that is called Multi-Timer, and I find that really useful. It's on my front page. I've got a few on there.
But I'd have to just remember to get it.
Once you're in the
finish
habit.
It'd have to become a habit.
But it just really makes you accountable, especially for reading and stuff like that. It's like I want to read more. So this way it's tangible. I can measure it.
Yeah, and then I was about to just say it's a good way of motivating yourself and also feeling good about yourself too at the end of the week. I guess if you can look back and go, oh wow, I ticked it off. I did my 3 hours of reading this week. If you don't, you feel like shit, but that could be
whatever it is.
Yeah, but that could then be motivating, to make you because you're keeping yourself accountable.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
And it'd be great if you shared that with a friend and just said, hey, these are my goals for the week. Touch base with me in a week or at the end of the month and let me know how I've gone in the last 4 weeks or whatever. So that's cool, man. Cool. Awesome.
All right.
I'll have to try that one.
Yeah. Let's do another one next week. That's cool. I want to see what else you got on there.
Awesome.
Should we do a question from the listener?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Was there anything else we wanted to go through? What are we at? Oh, no, we probably should wrap this up, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So this is a question from Adam. Hi, guys. I'm Adam from... Was this something else? Oh, you just reading?
No, just reading, yeah.
Hi, guys. I'm Adam from Perth. Perth is in Western Australia. Oh. I have a question about this girl I'm trying to get to notice me. I'm 26 and at uni or college. We have a couple of lectures together, but she barely knows I exist. And she's always around. That's not the right one.
No. She barely knows he exists?
Yes. No, that's also not the right one.
Which one are we looking for?
Jay. I don't know what you're doing, man.
I think
you're
that's a
breaking
bit of
my mojo.
That's a bit of like she doesn't know he exists.
No, that's a bad joke.
No, that's a bad joke. Hey.
Yeah.
So me just pressing that button was a bit.
Now
It makes sense. All right, continue.
Anyway, and
I will behave.
She's always around friends, so it's hard for me to just go up to her and talk to her. And the couple of times I have seen her alone, I've talked myself out of it, which I've done in the past as well.
Yeah, big time.
Do you have any tips on what I should do? Any one-liners to break the ice, or some other way I can get in the zone, so to speak, to start talking to her? Jay, what do you think? What can what can Adam do?
One thing he has going for him is that she's at his college, right? And in his lecture.
So there's something in common.
Yeah, and there's also so he'll have a few opportunities. It's not like a one-off, I've just seen her out on the street or whatever, or at some party, and it's now or never. But that can also work against you because you think, I won't do it today. I'll do it next week or whatever, next lecture.
This is Australia, mate.
Lecture. I hit my R's a lot because of my time in the US. Water.
Oh,
we're
going off.
Yeah. No, but
what can you do? Come on, give me some.
So
wisdom.
they have something familiar. If I was in that situation, look, totally understand. How many times have we talked ourselves out of approaching a girl, even when it's in a safe environment like your workplace or your school? I think in your school is safer than your workplace, but there's also a lot of fears with that. I'm sure some of the things he's thinking about is like, wow, what if she says no and she rejects me? Then I have to go back tomorrow to the lecture or next week, and she's there again, and it's going to be embarrassing. So there's a lot to lose as well. But sometimes you think, what's the greatest loss?
Yeah, if you put it into that perspective, I think you sent me a video on that earlier in the week. Whereas, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? It's not going to die.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know,
is the pain of never maybe knowing and never starting anything with this girl if you really like her and are attracted to her, is the pain of never seeing and realizing what that can become, is the pain of that greater than the pain of possible rejection? If it is, it'll cause you to take action.
Yeah.
And you'd rather...
Which it should be.
Yeah. It
should be greater.
I think. Because and that's coming back to living a dangerous life, right? A life where you take some risks and you put it all on the line and you know... You don't know, only take safe bets. But so, I would say...
Yeah, what would you do?
If I was in his position, I would like... He said there's times where he does catch her on her own. I mean, it's harder, obviously, when the friends are all there and it's hard to kind of interrupt. It almost feels rude. But if she's on her own, I mean, it could just be as simple as, you know, going up to her and saying, hi, I'm Jay Pace. I'm Adam. Sorry, yes. Hi, I'm Adam. What's your name? And she, I mean, even if he says, hi, I'm Adam, she's going to be like, oh, hi, I'm whatever her name is. And then usually once there's some kind of conversation, it starts. If she happens to just close down after that, he could possibly ask, what are your goals with this course or what brought you to, what subject topic was it? If it's a biology lecture. So and you know, what brought you to biology, or what are your goals with this biology course, or when did your passion for biology start, or whatever? I don't know. Where are you from? You know, are you from here? You know. Well,
you can be completely honest. Adam, you can be fully honest, and like you can come out with saying, look,
find you attractive.
If you really wanted to go down that route. I don't think he would be able to do that right now. He seems like he's obviously. He's young, probably a bit shy, so maybe that's going to be too much and it might come out in the wrong way. If you are fully confident in saying that, then why not? That can be really attractive to someone to have someone with the, I mean, audacity is probably a poor choice of words, but you know what I mean? Their bravery to just come out with it. However, if you want to play it safe but still get the message across, finding her on her own is probably the best bet when you're around other friends. There is a technique for that, actually. We'll talk about that in a second quickly. Ooh. But I would try and get her on her own and say, hey, my name's Adam. Are you in this class lecture that we are in? And then just have a question ready about it.
Maybe the recent lecture, right? Yeah, that's a good one.
That's if you want to be nice and safe.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on,
Yeah, or do you know when this thing is due or whatever it is that happens in unis these days? and that way you can get in and out if you really want to. Then she's obviously going to answer the question as long as you make it relevant enough. And then you can judge it by that point if the conversation is going to continue or if she shuts down. And even if it does shut down because she's got somewhere to go, doesn't matter, you've broken the ice.
Yep.
Now she
And
knows
you don't
who you
look
are.
bad. Yeah.
You don't look bad. You go, hey, thanks, that's great. I'll see you in class.
Yeah.
And that's probably might even be a good tactic to do. Just get in
leave
and
it
out.
at that.
And it doesn't look
first.
like you're fully,
needy.
Needy, exactly.
Yeah, I guess you don't have to go in for the date or the meet
Straight
up
away, no.
straight away. It could just be breaking the ice. So next time you see her again, it's a wave and hey,
exactly.
and you can chat
and then
a
you
bit
build
more.
from that. Exactly.
Yeah, and then obviously the goal would have to be eventually to get her out to dinner or for a coffee even, for lunch, and then you can discuss more. And if she's interested, it'll happen.
Yeah, that's right.
If she's not, then you have to read it.
But you just need to break the ice, basically.
Yeah.
And if she is around friends and you can't get her alone, what a good idea to do is to talk to one of the other friends. That's something that Neil Strauss talks about. Is don't make it too obvious and focus on her. Ask one of her friends a question or the group a question, and that way you've introduced yourself to all of them, and you could be exactly the same thing. Hey guys, I'm from this lecture. Do you guys know when such and such is happening or whatever it is? And that's it.
It's a good one. I guess it's less intimidating too if you approach the girl maybe you're not attracted to and there's nothing really to lose and you're just a cool, confident guy who's asking a legit question.
Do you have any one-liners? Have you ever tried a one-liner?
I have. I you know what? I have done a bit of approaching out there in my time. And a lot of times it has worked, actually. Yeah. I mean, not always, but I've done the whole, hey, hi, I find you really attractive and I just, I'd love to hang out sometime. Are you single? And if they say, yeah, I said, well, cool. Like, let's meet up or something like that. And I guess that the more you don't plan it, the better, I guess. And I've had, sometimes I haven't had a chance to plan it. Yeah. It's like it's there. There's an opening, and you got to go for it. And many times I haven't gone for it. And sometimes, but there's been moments I've just jumped in, no planning, and just went for it. And sometimes that can be attractive, I guess. When you, like Jordan Peterson says, sometimes it's just worth going out there and doing something badly than not doing anything at all. Start off badly and find your way. Yeah.
So the best advice is no matter what you do, just do something and don't overthink it. As soon as you get the opportunity, just commit. So if you start walking in that direction, you better come up with something to say because it's going to be worse if you just walk away.
And you're going to come across immediately to this girl as, all right, well, one thing I know about him, he's ballsy, he's bold, he's brave.
He is CVA.
He's a CVA. He goes out there and tries to get what he wants, you know, and that's an attractive quality, I think. Even as a man, I think I find that attractive in a human being. And you know what? At the end of the day, if she's got a boyfriend and she says, "Oh no, sorry, I've got a boyfriend," and like whether it's a lie or not, at the end of the day, as if she's not going to feel great that you had, you plunged and took a risk because you thought that highly of her and were that attracted to her. I think she'll feel pretty good about herself.
What not to do? Don't hang in the corner and just stare at her, waiting for eye contact.
And then look away when she looks. Before, so. Yeah, and then straight away look away as if you're not even looking. It's not going to achieve anything. No.
All right. Let's wrap it up.
What was that? All right. And
I guarantee he's going to press the wrong button.
Alrighty. It's Roger and Pace here.
We're done, guys. Let's, as of this moment, we still haven't uploaded any episodes, but there will be probably by the time you see this, obviously it'll be uploaded.
Yes, I hope so.
We're going to be at Roger and Pace, A&D, on YouTube, Instagram at the moment, just those two channels, but potentially more later. And hopefully you can find us on all the main podcast channels as well. Apple, Google, what else is there? Stitcher. Yeah. SoundCloud, perhaps.
Yeah, Spotify,
I believe. Yeah.
Also, guys, please feel free to give us a rating and to send us any questions you have.
Well, don't give us a rating if it's 1 star.
Yeah. If it's that, just maybe decide against it and just maybe turn off whatever you're listening to and go home.
Yes, please give us a rating. Subscribe on all those channels or any channels that you see fit, and guess we'll see you here next week.
Yeah, and email us any questions you guys have.
RogerandPace@gmail.com. Roger, ANDPACE, ROGER, sorry for Roger, no D. At gmail.com. Shoot us your questions as well so we can read them out on air. And that's it.
Great.
It's rock and roll.
Thanks for listening, guys. Man. Awesome. I might join you afterwards, after you go. Alrighty, guys. Even I was scared about that. Thank you for listening. This is Rog, and I'm Jay. Peace.